Okay, so here we're going to finish warping over this. We're going to warp over this top two strings here, and we're going to straighten them out a little bit, make sure they line up so we know what we're looking at, and it looks good. So now it's really play it as you see it, but it's the fourth. So we're not actually looking at it. So if we wanted to warp this one over too for, and actually make it a fretboard for you, we can do that. We can do that. So it's all play it as you see it. Actually, truly play it as you see it. Now it's a fretboard. And you can see with the G shape here, you wouldn't be able to access that 7. Okay, so there's a little problem there. But we're going to solve that with the long pattern. Now, why is this 7 darkened and this 7 is play? Because this is in the key of C here. All right, this is in the C box here, or even the G box, because we've got, look at this, we've got 6 strings there. So guess what? We don't even need this guy down here. We don't even need the C down here. We're in G. Okay, so we don't even need that. Now we're looking at the G cage. Here's the fourth of the G cage, the substitution. Both of them are 6 strings. We can't get this 7, but we can get it if we use the long pattern. But remember, what's that 7 actually going to be is another story. The 7th of the G shape is probably going, the 7th of the G shape is going to be what? The 5th? I'm not quite sure. All right, here we have the 4th of this root is the 5th of the 4th. Okay, so remember, this is the 4th, and we're going to, this is the substitution we're going to play to play the half diminished, which is going to be a minor off of the 4th with an adjusted 3rd. Okay, it's going to have an adjusted 6th rather. 5th to its local 6th, like that. So in the first inversion, which is how we play it, we're going to be adjusting the 3rd to an augmented 4th. It's Lydian 4th to stay in the original mode. So that's how that plays, and we're going to, you just learn the string shape here is what makes it so easy. So the half diminished string shapes are going to be, for the triad, C, just the F sharp, just the augmented 4th, the C in the C string shape. So C string shape is 3, 4, 5. All right, if we were going to play that normally, like that, and then like that. That would be, that is the diatonic. That's actually the key of the 4th. We don't want to play that. All right, because the key of the 4th has the B flat. We don't want that. The 7th is okay, but not the B flat. So we're going to just play pentatonic or triads, or triad plus its 7th. I'm not going to play the 4th of the 4th unless you want to do that. So it would be C, 6, root. Okay, now this is the long pattern. And now with the D, usually goes 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to play, usually we don't play any of that. We're going to just play that augmented 4th. So it's C, 6, root. This is long pattern now. Then root, then C. So that's it. Now this is difficult because this is a short pattern, and we've looked at we've converted it to a long pattern, and this is the 4th substitution. So that's 2 things we've done. Sorry I didn't explain what note of the, what, in other words, what is the fourth of the seventh? It would be the third. Okay, so it would be the third. The third is the fourth of the seventh, no doubt. So it would be this note. My bad there. The seven becomes the C. So the C is actually that seventh. This seven becomes a C, because we're looking at we're looking at a short pattern. It's not even a pattern anymore. It's fretboard and long fretboard. So this obviously becomes part of the A. And I want to show you that. Okay, I know this stuff's a little boring, but for those of you that it matters, we just want to make sure we know what we're talking about. So in the long pattern, the augmented fourth can fall nicely into, it can make the A pattern longer there. That fits nicely. That fits nicely here. You see how this is brick wall? So we're going to add, in the short pattern, we add the augmented to the A shape. In the long pattern, where we've got no choice, we're adding it to, of course, the long A shape, but we're also adding it to the D shape up here. Okay, so in this particular drawing, I added it to the D shape here. Remember, this is usually a short pattern D shape up here. But now we're going to add it to the long, because it's not going to work just adding it to the A shape. So just adding it to the A shape, trust me, I tried this, it's not going to work like that. There's a certain shape that doesn't work on. So to be on the safe side, of course you could add it to the C. You can play it at the C because it's in between. Okay, but it's at the extremes with the A pattern. Now let's see which pattern wouldn't be able to play the short A shape there. Let's look at it. This is a little interesting exercise. So let's look at the C can play everything. There's your C there. There's your C there. Okay, let's look at the A shape there. So here's our C. This is going to be the substitution, but it's going to be that C is going to be that augmented F of the fourth. So here we have it, the short patterns. It works on the A cage. Let's assume it works on the C cage. Let's look at the G cage. Okay, so are we going to be able to count this? Now remember, we're doing it as the fourth, so it's going to be root C sixth. So here we have 6 root. Okay, in the G cage, where's our C? Up, it's outside of the G cage. That would be okay for the long one. Okay, here it is. So we got 6 root. It's going to be root. It's almost like a D7. Okay, so hang on. All right, I figured it out. The pattern that it can't be done with is the long patterns. Because if you look here, when we start the long patterns, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we wouldn't be able to access the C here. So we take the C as an extension of the short D pattern leading into the long patterns there. So just trust me on that. So again, in the short patterns, we'll have the that tritone added to the A short for the brick wall there. That'll fit in. And for the long pattern, and we want to do that. We don't want something that's not going to play. All of a sudden you'll find you're up against a brick wall with the fret nut and you can't play it, and you have to go over to the long pattern. The long pattern, we're going to use the D because, as you know, the long pattern is designed to go to the right anyway. Okay, so that's how that plays. I tried it, and it doesn't work just having the C, the augmented fourth of the fourth. It doesn't, which is the seventh. It doesn't work having it just in the short A, the the short A box here. Okay, this is the long. Okay, so we're looking at the fourth substitution with the minor adjusted. So remember, if we go to the fourth, say here's our root, here's the fourth, we go to the minor by raising the fifth to the sixth, and then we're going to raise the third of that, its local third, to its augmented fourth to get that substitution. And let me tell you something, folks, about these substitutions. Whether you're going to use them or not, you should know them. Believe it or not, because anything I've ever decided I'm not going to need, as soon as I think I don't need it, I'm going to need it again. So the substitutions are very important with the minors and the majors, okay? And also obviously it would follow that they're important with the half diminished. It's a really blustery day outside. It's our first real cold day. It's 45 degrees and sunny, but with a wind chill factor, it probably feels like it's almost freezing. So let's review for a minute there. Of course, you know the string shapes are up here. So I purposely drew this little diagram up here to show where the string shapes are. Okay, let's get box. So these are our string shapes. C is 3, 4, 5. A is 5, 6. G is 6, 7 root. Okay, and E is 7 root 2. But if we do them in fifths, we can cover all 5 of them. C, A, G, E, D. They're interlocked when you're just looking at them horizontally. You know, C's interlocked with A's, interlocked with G's, interlocked with D, E's interlocked with D. But going in fifths, and then we have their relative fourths. These are going to be the substitutions. For the fourth, in the C box, we're going to do an E shape for a substitution for the fourth, and a G shape for the substitution of the fifth. In the G box, we're going to do a C shape for the substitution of fourth, and a D shape for the substitution of the fifth, etc., etc. D, G, A, 1, 4, 5, A, D, E, 1, 4, 5. Now, it's just a little different when we go E to A to C. We're not going 1, 4 to the B. We're going 1, 4 to augmented. And similarly back here in the C cage, when we go 1, 4, 5, we're not going C, F, G. We're going C, E shape, G, Y. We'll just play those chords. We got the C chord here. Okay. C chord, please. And then an E shape. We go up 1 for the E shape because it starts on the 4 there. So we're actually substituting the E shape there for that fourth. So it's an E shape substitution there. And then we got a G shape substitution for the fifth. Remember one thing about those substitutions, you can't use the diatonic substitution. You have to use either the chord, an arpeggio, a triad arpeggio, or the pentatonic. Alright, so with the G substitution, you can play the fourth of the G of the fifth. And for the fourth substitution, you can play the seventh too. So that's an extra note you can use on the substitutions, but you can't play the fourth of the fourth, and you can't play the seventh of the fifth. So it has to be like that, and the fourth has to be to fit into. Doesn't that sound nice? Kind of the way it works. Hey, we're out of time. Thanks for watching. I'm going to call this 55-minute video.